You shouldn't have family members, beating up, starving, imprisoning, leaving them outside in nothing but their underwear. I mean, that's what my parent did with me.
Were they trying to starve you to death? Was that the plan?
Didn't have any access to food. The door was locked. I had no carpets, no bedding, no pillows, no curtains, no lighting, just nothing, basically. I was just a prisoner in my own bedroom.
What's the worst day in your life?
Punishment from this woman was absolutely severe. If I stood out of line, it would be fairy liquid down the throat, it would be a bar of soap down the throat, it would be a belt with knuckles on, it would be kept underneath the stairs, it would be locked in your bedroom for 4 days without food.
How does that happen? I know this sounds like a mad thing to ask, but how does it go from bad to that much worse? Like, how do you end up in this ring?
I was trying my best to tell the staff what was going on, to let them know who it was, what was going on. Some would blame me for my own abuse.
What's blown my mind about this is not just the trauma you've gone through, mate. The fact that there's people effectively paying a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
So today we are joined by Richie. Now, Richie, I know that you've got a dog walking business which you franchised. Was it about 9 years ago?
Started in 2006, so it's about nearly 20 years ago.
Now, I know that the viewers and listeners are going to be thinking, dog walker, this is a bit different to the types of characters that I normally get on. But your story is, I mean, I know that you've told me off air, probably the most harrowing story I've heard, to be honest, that someone's had to go through what you've gone through. I want to, before the dog walking, and I know obviously you're an author now as well, how does someone get to this point? What was your journey as a young lad?
Well, my journey started when I was, as far as I can remember, 4 years old. I was living at home with my parent back at the time. I'm very careful how I use the word mother, because as far as I'm concerned, she's not. A parent doesn't abuse their children at the end of the day. So I was living at home with my brother and my sister. And I think my mother knew I was gay, even though I knew I was different, but I couldn't really put my finger on it back then. So from the age of 5 all the way through to the age of 9, I was a prisoner, basically, in my bedroom. Didn't have any access to a toilet, didn't have any access to food. The door was locked. I had no carpets, no bedding, no pillows, no curtains, no lighting, just nothing, basically. I was just a prisoner in my own bedroom for that length of time. When
did you realise that you were?
It was forced on me to come out. I was eventually put into the care of the local authority at the age of 9 through something that happened whilst I was at home. I had no idea at the time, obviously now I do. I've managed to get my care files. So at the age of 9 I was put into care because something was happening to my sister, unbeknownst to me and my brother. And through a process of elimination, I was put into care first, followed 6 months later by my brother. My sister was suffering from abuse, which we weren't aware of. So from the age of 9, I was living in this really strange place with a load of children, and my parent came to see me and was left alone with a load of children, and they asked her why I was put in there, and she accused me of abusing my sister at the age of 9. So I was forced to come out as gay.
Mm-hmm. Fucking hell, mate. When you landed in care, did you feel like that was what you needed? You needed to, because you're out of that situation?
Oh, it was like heaven, honestly. It was going to your own bedroom, having curtains, lighting, access to a toilet. Downstairs, you had a massive kitchen full of food. You had a big sofa area. You had a TV you could watch. It was, to me, it was like going from hell into heaven.
Where are you from, Richie?
I'm from the Midlands originally, but I was raised by 2 families when I was younger. Whilst I was in care, I was raised by a Jamaican family and a Jewish family. So I've lived down in Nottingham, I've lived in Durham, I've lived up in Scotland.
That's mad, that the amount of travelling you've done for a young lad.
Yeah.
When you were going through all that stuff, did you know it was wrong? I know that sounds mad, but as such a young lad, was it like a why me? Why am I a prisoner? Like, I don't have bed sheets, I don't have a pillow, I don't have access to food. Like, because I can't imagine what it would be like for a young, if I was younger, what that would be. I can't even comprehend that. Like, because you don't know, surely you know that you're supposed to eat and stuff. I get it, you'll have been hungry and all them things, but did you almost blame yourself? Like, what? Why are they doing this to me? Like, did you ever find out why they did that?
I knew it was wrong. I knew that wasn't the way to live. I mean, I was only a child. You do realise that the things that go on around you aren't normal, aren't the same as anybody else. I did go to school now and again, and I could see how other children were behaving, how their parents were with them, seeing how their clothes were clean, the food they were bringing in, for the packed lunches. It was different, and I knew that what was happening to me just wasn't right. And of course, back then, I knew I was different. I knew I wasn't normal. I don't know how I can say that. It is normal. I wasn't the same as everybody else. I wasn't the social norm, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it was different. It was definitely wrong, and I knew from a very young age that it was wrong.
Did you ever try and get out of the situation? Like, did you ever try and break out the house or anything like that?
Many times, myself and my brother, because sometimes my brother was in there, because he was between there and where my dad lived. I had no contact with him, but my brother, because he was older, always had contact with him, so he was there and here. There were times when we had to dig through the bedroom door just to go down and get some food from the freezer. I remember eating frozen fish fingers when I was a kid, just so I can survive.
Bloody hell, man.
Yeah.
Was the, I mean, if you can call them parents, but was the plan of the parents to kill you? Because effectively you would have, I mean, you said there you would have died if you didn't have access to food. Were they trying to starve you to death? Was that the plan?
It was just complete neglect. It was abuse. Looking back at it now as an adult, yeah. If there wasn't interventions, if I wasn't now and again seeing grandparents or going to school having the odd food, dinner, you would think that a child at that age would die from starvation. There were days when I went without food. I mean, this abuse is still happening now. I've seen like Sarah Sharif, Alfie Steele, for instance. The abuse that Alfie Steele was suffering, I was suffering 30 years ago. It still happens today. And there were times where I thought I wasn't going to survive the next day, even living in that house with my own family. At such a young age, having that realisation, it was quite strange.
When you were going to your grandparents, were you telling other people as well? Or were you kind of under this control of, I can't say anything?
My parent was very controlling, very manipulative, very coercive. She was able to excuse her behaviour as normal. That I was exaggerating, that I was being hypochondriac, Of course she fed us. Of course she looked after us. I mean, punishment from this woman was absolutely severe. If I stood out of line, it would be fairy liquid down the throat. It would be a bar of soap down the throat. It would be a belt with knuckles on. It would be kept underneath the stairs. It would be locked in your bedroom for 4 days without food. You just couldn't answer the woman back, because that's the kind of abuse you would be getting.
So do you think the mother, do you think that was the cause of this, and then the dad was just kind of allowing it to happen?
My dad left when I was 4 years old. Relationships, they break up when you've had kids. It happens all the time. I didn't know at the time that my dad had actually met another woman and had 3 other kids with her.
Okay.
So my parent obviously had me, my brother and my sister. She couldn't cope at all. Looking back at it now as an adult, you just know she just couldn't cope with 3 children on her own.
Have you spoken to your mother since?
No.
No.
She tried to. on a couple of occasions. But, you know, I'm a very forgiving person, but that there's things in life that you just can't forgive. You can't ignore. You can't put to one side. It was systematic. It was repetitive. It was over a number of years. And to do that takes a very particular mind, especially when it's a parent to a child. I just can't forgive that. I can't explain to her that what she did was right.
I don't even mean from a forgiven point of view, Richie. Even more from a, like, why did you do it? You know, like them. That I know you're saying she couldn't cope and stuff, but you know, as you grow as a man now, do you ever want to just be like, why me? Why did you do this?
I would love to have asked her that, but she died many years ago.
Okay.
So having that question answered is never going to happen.
How did that make you feel?
Relief,
Did it?
if I'm honest. My sister has had 4 children since, and those children have been taken off her and put into care because the cycle of abuse is now continuing down one particular family line.
Okay.
So my sister is unfortunately unable to deal with what she went through, which is understandable. You know, some people can deal with it, some people can't. And so the way she's dealing with it is unfortunately manifested in her own children. So her 4 children have been taken into care. And there was one point where my parent was trying to gain custody of those children, and I fought it massively.
Yeah,
I was writing to the council and basically saying it can't happen.
Right, I hope you're all enjoying the episode so far, and if you are, do us a favour and hit that like, press that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you are notified when the next video goes live. And the reason I tell you to do that is because the majority of people who watch these videos aren't actually subscribed, you little tinkers. And we work tirelessly to bring these episodes to you every single week. We travel up and down the country, put a lot of work into this, and we travel overseas and all to bring some banging guests here. So do us a favour and hit subscribe, will you? So, 9-year-old, you're in care.
Yeah.
What's your kind of journey from that point as a 9-year-old lad? You felt like you've got that relief now, like are things looking up? Are you doing regular stuff, going to school as normal?
I was starting to go to school on a regular basis. It was great. I was meeting new friends. I was eating well. I was having proper hygiene. My bedroom was starting to fill with toys. You know, it was quite a new experience and quite a happy experience. But that only lasted for 2 weeks.
Right.
So my parent came to visit me and was left downstairs with a group of children, and they were asking, you know, kids are always inquisitive. Why is he there? What did he do? Why you brought him to the children's home? And my mother knew that I was gay even before I did, and she always called me a deviant. So when what was happening to my sister became aware to the school that my sister was going to, the process of elimination, as I said, I was taken away first. So my mother blamed me for what was happening with my sister. So she told the group of children in the children's home that it was my fault. And that was it.
So what happened? So did you come out of care then?
No, I was still in care. I was in care until I was 16 years old.
Right.
But from the age of 9, because of that situation, to the age of 13, I was severely abused and trafficked nationally in a ring because of what she did.
Fucking hell, mate. Like, how does that happen? I know this sounds like a mad thing to ask, but how does it go from bad to that much worse? Like, how do you end up in this ring nationally? Like, what was that process? Because again, there's going to be people wondering, like, we understand, we hear all the scandals and different things that go on with different gangs and stuff up and down the UK, and it's rife. It's everywhere. You're hearing a lot of this.
Yeah.
How did that happen to you? What was the process?
The process was initially children in there were disgusted, and they took their anger out on me. But some of those kids were already involved in this kind of situation, whether it was from the outside or from the inside. So older kids would then start abusing you and then would take you out and show you to these. And then they would then start trafficking you across the country. It was quick, pretty quick.
So when you mentioned the word trafficking there, what's then your role, or as a victim of that? Like, are you basically passed around to predators?
Yeah.
Or yeah,
Basically.
and I know it's gonna sound like, and I just, out of curiosity, did you try to escape that situation as well?
I tried many times. I've looked at my care records, and the initial care home, knew from 2 weeks into my placement that I was being trafficked. But they wrote it down as I was a rent boy. Most of what happened to me when I was a child happened because of bigotry. I wasn't aware of this, obviously, at the time. I was only 9 years old. The only thing I could really grasp and protect for myself is being my authentic self. When my mother blamed me for what happened to my sister, of course, the only thing I could say is I don't like girls. I actually like boys. At the time. It's what you do. I didn't just wake up one morning and go, you know what, I'm going to be gay. I had to protect what I was. It was something that I could hold on to. But other people saw issues with that. So their bigotry turned into abuse. And it was socially acceptable back then. And people didn't see a problem with it, because if you're gay, you're a monster. If you're gay, you're... So it was kind of excused back then. So I had no choice, really.
And did this last up until you were 16?
Happened until I was 13, until I was finally moved for my own safety to another children's home with locked doors, basically.
And how did they kind of twig on that this was happening to you?
As I said, they knew it was happening from such a young age. I mean, I have 26 registered complaints of abuse that I made, which were ignored. I mean, I went to the police, I went to members of staff. Police were categorising me as a rent boy. As a 9-year-old child, how can you be? Staff were using their own bigotry. I was moved from one children's home to another because of the level of abuse that I was being subjected to. And again, moving to another children's home, it was brilliant, for a few weeks, until a member of staff read my reports from the previous children's home and then told all the children, you need to stay away from him, he's a rent boy.
Fucking hell.
And then it all started again.
So when did this end, Richie?
It ended when a member of staff from my second children's home finally put in for a request to move to a secure unit for my own protection. And that only happened because my abuser, who was trafficking me, who was working me as a prostitute at the age of 13, set fire to a group of buildings because I was complaining I was being cold and I wanted to go home. So obviously the whole process of prosecution happened, wrongly convicted. I was trying to basically tell them exactly what happened, and I had another kid who was telling whatever they wanted to know just to protect himself.
It's fucking blown me mind, mate, because what's blown me mind is about this is not just the trauma you've gone through, mate, but like the fact that there's people effectively paying a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, how are these people on the streets? Like, do you know, is there no repercussions for that as well when that whole ring or that operation gets closed down and it's kind of, you get put into care again and you kind of out of that ring? Is there no kind of fucking punishment for these beasts?
The problem that I suffered was I was being controlled from within the children's home. So it was a kid, basically, who was taking me out. It was a kid in the first home and it was a kid in the second home. I was trying my best to tell the staff what was going on, to let them know who it was, what was going on. Sometimes it went on deaf ears. Some would make notes. Some would blame me for my own abuse. I did manage to put away 1 or 2 paedophiles. I did go to court, but then a few more court appearances went because I ran away for my own safety, because I was being pressured by kids in the home under violence, threats of violence. So it's got away. I mean, there's hundreds of them. I mean, we're talking about men who have families themselves. You know, they had toys in the back of cars. They had high-profile jobs. They were judges. You know, they were teachers. These people who had that kind of behaviour had kids themselves.
Fucking hell, man. It's almost like, because the question I'd want to ask would be, what's the worst day in your life? But then at the same time, it's like, fucking hell, I don't think any one day could be worse than any of that. Like, it's all fucking bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, is there something that stands out? Like, you don't have to mention details, mate, but is there something that stands out? You're like, this is fucking hell. Like, because I'm assuming, I can only imagine, you've wanted to take your own life on multiple occasions.
I had 4 attempts at suicide. I mean, thankfully, they didn't work, because I'm really blessed to be where I am now. But there were many days where I would be falling asleep with a guy next to me, thinking I'm not going to be waking up the next morning. I'll be in situations where I'm subjected to doing things as a child with these people, thinking I'm not going to be going home afterwards. You know? Sorry,
man.
It was just really hard to continue and constantly go through something like that. And no one would listen to you, no one would protect you, no one would try and get you out of that situation.
I think that's what the saddest thing is.
You know, to be blamed for your own abuse just because you're gay is, you know, bigotry has a huge potential of destroying people's lives just because people don't understand that a guy can be gay, or someone could be trans, or a woman could be a lesbian. You know, that lack of understanding has serious consequences. And these same people would be quite outspoken against paedophiles, but yet would bully someone to the point where they're pushed into the arms of these people.
Yeah, that's the bit that I can't get my head around. Like, it's so crazy, this. But like, I guess everyone's got their own prejudices and things like that. And again, we want to live in a world where no one's got those type of... But I've met people who are gay and racist, and I can't get my head around that. I struggle with that because I don't understand. Every fucker on planet Earth's different in some way, shape or form. I understand. I don't want to be like, we all can't judge, because that's not how the world fucking works, unfortunately. But at the same time, I just never understand. You know what I'm saying about those same people who were shouting about it would push you into the arms of... It's really hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm sitting down with someone who's been through all that fucking stuff. Like, it's really hard to comprehend that. Can you remember the last day of that, when that was finally over?
The last day of that was finally when my abuser committed the offence of arson. And that was it. I was under lock and key then, which is what I needed. I needed to be taken away from all of that. He was finally taken into a police cell, and he was never going to see the light of day for at least 8 years. Mm-hmm. And that was it. It was gone for me.
Was he only going for the arson?
Yeah.
So everything he'd done got away with, but the arson as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've tried later I went through the Truth Project after my husband heard my story, and I finally met someone who supported me and encouraged me to speak up about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went through the Truth Project, and I went through a police investigation, and unfortunately, the two that are responsible are unable to face prosecution because they're incarcerated for life under the Mental Health Act. Which, for me, is a double-edged sword. I'm not able to get justice, which really is painful. But at least I know they're not going to be able to do it to anyone else, because they're not anywhere near able to do that again.
This is the other thing, and it's like, in life when, and it's horrible that it's had to happen to somebody, and that somebody's obviously sitting opposite me, but you often find that change is made when something fucking bad happens. So, for instance, think of what, and again, you don't want to use yourself as that person who's had to go through that, mate, because it's fucking. But as you say, think of all the kids that won't happen to now. And that's the only kind of piece you can take from that. And it's awful that it's had to be you, but the fact that there will be people who it's not going to happen to now by these scum can kind of have their childhoods. Do you know what I mean? And have them happy times now in their life. But it's mad. Did you? Well, first and foremost, congratulations on finding love, mate, because I can only imagine that must have been. Was that challenging to trust people? Again?
Yeah. I went through 2 relationships previously to that, which were very challenging, to say the least. I opened up to my first partner, who put me back into prostitution. Yeah. So I was very careful when I met my second partner.
Can I ask, how did that happen?
My first partner couldn't handle what I went through, became an alcoholic, and went down a very slippery slope.
Right.
And it was a way to fuel his alcoholism until I ended it.
And the second?
Second one was great. Had a few really happy years, but turned into a user and a manipulator and stole half my business, and yeah.
So that was just kind of totally unrelated to...
Totally unrelated, but it was just another example of me trusting the wrong kind of person again.
And this one now, the keeper?
Yeah, he's great. He's fantastic. He's a great big bodybuilder who has got a massive heart, and yeah, he's fantastic.
Was it to meet him? You get married? You said,
yeah.
Was it hard to? Was it harder to meet the third person because of the previous 2, or because of your past and the trust and the demons and allowing them into your world and all that type of stuff? Because I'm assuming you'd worry about that.
To be honest, I've really struggled with relationships, especially intimate relationships, purely because of what happened when I was a child. It took a while to open up and to be intimate on that level. Yeah, it was very difficult. The third one, Ben, I met him as a friend, and we kind of helped each other out because we were both going through really difficult relationships that ended, and we were just trying to find our feet, and we basically supported each other emotionally through both situations, and he was there and I was there for him, and it just developed from that. It developed from a friendship more than anything.
So you got to know each other kind of on from an understanding point of view before anything. Yeah, it's nice to hear, mate. And I think ultimately, like, because everyone deserves that, right? Everyone deserves to meet someone.
Yeah.
Did you think you'd never find that?
I mean, if you were to say to me back when I was 13 that I would meet the man of my dreams, marry him in New York on Christmas Day, have my own house, drive a nice car,
Okay,
I'd probably laugh in your face.
that's
you
mad,
know?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm. People from my background don't survive to talk about it. You know, they either don't survive as a child or they don't survive as an adult because of the weight of what's happened to them.
Do you ever get them demons still? Do they ever creep back up?
Not really. I'm more focused on talking about my experiences so that it helps people now, rather than hiding away and tormenting myself. You know, I'd rather be out there talking, protecting people, especially protecting kids from this sort of thing.
Do you, because it's as you said, the majority of people probably wouldn't survive that. Do you feel like in a weird way you were meant to go through it because you've got the strength to help other people? Because we all need to look at someone who's a beacon of hope or strength or something like that to help guide other people through these fucking horrendous times. But a bit like a bodybuilder or a bit like a coach or someone like that, it's hard for them to help people if they've not been through some kind of... You look at any bodybuilder, I mean, you can ask your husband this. If you look at any bodybuilder, anybody who's in good shape, you'll often find there's a lot of trauma somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a reason they want to look a certain way, whether it's their favourite superhero from a magazine when they were a kid.
Yeah.
I want to be big and have big muscles and protect people, probably because they didn't get it. You see it all the time. Like, I work with a lot of bodybuilders, and you find like there's a theme throughout a lot of that. Do you feel like, in a weird way, because it shouldn't have meant to happen to anybody, but do you feel like you've kind of been put here for that reason?
I feel like I've survived for a reason. Everybody has their own level of trauma. No individual's trauma is greater or lesser than anybody else's. Everyone else's is valid. That's what I've always said. Regardless of what happened to me, I survived. You know, I sometimes I have survivor's guilt, especially when I still see stories of children who are killed by their own family in the same circumstances. But I survived for a reason. You know, I went through all that hell in order to get to where I am today to protect people from this kind of abuse. I mean, I still have people running a mile when they hear about my story. You know, they pass judgment, you know, oh, you're gay or you're an abuse survivor. And they just run in the opposite direction.
What do you think the reason is, the run away from that?
I think there's a lot of fear in facing something that they just don't want to face, really. There's a lot of, I don't know, fear of the unknown. It's the same with bigotry, really. People are bigoted because they fear the unknown. They have a lack of understanding. And if they can run away and not listen to it, then they'll feel safer.
So do you get a lot of people who reach out to you now?
I do, yeah.
Because you'll get a lot more after this podcast.
I've had quite a few people reach out since I was on BBC Radio 4. Survivors who have passed 40 years since their experience. People who are in their 60s who haven't talked to a soul, and they've talked to me, and I've been able to point them in the right direction, get the help that they need, right the way through to seeking justice from the people who actually abused them. And that, to me, is best.
If you don't know by now, I run a business called The Content PT. I create content for influencers, PTs, online coaches and fitness brands all around the world. So if you are someone who's in need for sexy content for your social media, or you really want to maintain a competitive edge in your industry, drop me a DM on Instagram.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of, because if there's a young lad, young lass, whoever it is, doesn't have to be young, can be all, I'm assuming abuse doesn't discriminate via age all the time. And I'm trying to give them some value, because if they're watching this and they're something they're going through, or whatever it may be, it could be a family member, it could be something. I kind of want to ask, like, what are the signs to look out for? But I suppose there's no signs until it happens. Is that right? Or can you normally tell someone who's going to be like that?
My situation has left me with a very good instinct on people's behaviour, their body language, their agendas. I can see problems happening before they happen. Just by a person's approach, you can normally tell when something's wrong. And when someone is going through what I've been through, you know it's wrong. You know, you shouldn't be messing with kids at the end of the day. You know, you shouldn't have family members, you know, beating up, starving, imprisoning, you know, abusing them to the level like Alfie Steele, leaving them outside in nothing but their underwear. I mean, that's what my parent did with me. You know, there are signs that you can see in people's behaviour towards their children. It's wrong. And people now, they need to know that it's not their fault. You know, they're not responsible for another person's actions. There are people out there that can help them. They can be brave and they can talk to people who will listen to them. Yes, I went through years of people ignoring me. I had police officers, staff blaming me because of their bigotry. Well, that's on them. At the end of the day, they failed in their duty to protect me as a child. There are people now that will do absolutely anything to protect children, to protect you from abuse.
I suppose it's good to know that there is people out there, mate. And again, it's like, not that I want you to take on every, you've been through your own shit, mate, but at the same time, who better to understand it than someone like yourself? So if this can reach someone who's going through something, mate, and they feel like they can contact you, it's nice to know that, you know, you're out there spreading the message, mate. I think this is the whole reason why I've got a podcast to start with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Without stories like this and without shining a light on these fucking predators and these twisted people who are walking, and this is the savage thing about it all is, I mean, even listening to your story, Richie, there's so many people who are clearly walking the streets doing it. Yeah. That's the thing. Yeah. Do you know, and the person who did it to you for that amount of time ended up going to prison for arson. Not even like. Have you ever seen him? No.
And I wouldn't want to either.
Yeah, good.
I've in order to get over, well, to deal with my own demons, I need to put a close on what happened. I can talk about it because talking about it's cathartic for me, but it also helps other people who have been through it, who are not yet able to talk about it. They can see someone who is dealing with it and able to talk about it, so that it might inspire them to talk about it themselves. I mean, I want to be a police officer. I've always wanted to be a police officer, and hopefully I may be one day. And what I've experienced will be vital in tackling this sort of behaviour. And that is what I want to do to help people. I not only want to talk to people, I want to help people right on the front line.
That's what I mean. And hopefully you get where you want to be in your career, because we need people like that.
Yeah.
In general. And not just necessarily in the authority space, but everywhere. We need people like that who've been through certain things, who understand. And I know this sounds mad, a bit contradictory to what you said, I suppose. But I actually think sometimes criminals would make the best police officers in some way as well, because I've sat down with a lot of people who've been to prison. You know, they've maybe killed someone in a drunken fight or something like that, and you can tell the good people deep down something's went wrong. And I mean, not justifying anybody who takes someone's life, of course, but what I mean is that you can just tell someone's called his missus or whatever's happened and he's punched him and he's died. It was purely manslaughter. I mean, there's a lad who's been on the podcast who was there when someone died, and he got joint enterprise and went to prison for 10 years. Didn't do anything, didn't pick up the weapon, didn't hit anybody, and he went to jail for 10 years. And that can ruin someone's life, hard to get jobs and all that type of stuff. So there's got to be something done. But I think ultimately, the more people that spread a message and do something about it, something might change. Do you know what I mean? There might just be something that might change. And the reason I said that about the criminal who's been, it's because he's got an understanding of both sides. So if you do this to somebody and put them in this prison, we may not make them a better person. We may just be draining people, taxpayers. That's all that might be happening out this. And of course, there's got to be something in place. And I'm not saying people don't deserve to go to jail, but at the same time, you know, there may be a better way of dealing with someone who's accidentally killed someone in a fight instead of putting him in prison for 10 years. There may be another way of looking at that. Is it, do we control his anger? Do we control his substance abuse? Is he drinking too much alcohol? Is there other things that are creating this, you know, whatever it may be? Is prison always right for them? Prison is always right for the beasts of the world because they can't be fucking helped. And again, it's like, I know that people are going to tune in and this be like, fucking hell. And, you know, no one has to go through or should ever go through what you've gone through. But hopefully someone learns something from it, mate, and that's the thing. Can you show us your book? Because you are an author, Richie, and we can't not get your book out and have a look at this. Just show it up to that camera. Right, so, Richie, who cares?
Yes.
Let's talk us through this, because, again, not everybody gets to be an author, so what's that journey all about?
It was very strange for me as well. My husband, who I married on Christmas Day in New York City, told me I should put my experiences onto pen and paper to have more of an impact in helping people directly. It's a tool that people can use to spot the signs, maybe relate to, and see what happened when they were younger. If anything happened to them, that they can maybe talk about it and they can probably get some justice for. It's a point where I can just put all of my experiences in this and then just close it. You know, it's a way for me to move on more than anything.
Is it out yet?
Yes.
It is.
It was bestseller on Amazon.
Bloody hell, congrats.
Thank you. And yes, it's on ebook, Kindle, and Amazon, WH Smith's, Waterstones, all the good bookshops.
Was that... I bet you that was a tough process. Was that like literally reliving experiences and stuff?
I had to have 48 counselling sessions.
Right, okay.
Writing the book.
How long did it take to write?
About a year.
Right, okay.
Yeah. It took a year to go through all the interviews and get everything out there, and it was about 6 months to have everything put into format.
Was it self-published or?
It's published through Scratching Shed Publishing, which is a Yorkshire-based publisher, and it was written with Rebecca Bond, who is a BBC journalist, because I can't write for toffee.
So where can people get that now? We'll get the links in under this video.
It's on WH Smith, Waterstones, it's on Kindle, it's on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you doing another one?
I think I will be.
Oh, yeah. Have you got the bug for it, or is it just off the success of that one?
It's basically a follow-up from this one. I've got quite a lot of material from my life ever since marrying my husband. Yeah, I've got quite a lot. I don't really want to ruin it.
What are your future plans, Richie?
Well, ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to like buy my own house, have my own car, get married, and I've kind of done that now, which I never thought I would ever get to. I mean, God, yeah, that's just weird. I never thought I'd even have my own business, let alone my own house. I mean, God, when I was a kid, I was sleeping in cardboard boxes behind bus stations just so I didn't have to go back to the children's home and face my abusers. And now I'm living in my own home. You know, it's
mind blowing. Isn't it?
It's
You've
crazy,
already
isn't it?
won now, haven't you?
Yeah.
At this point. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, if you put a lot of work in, if you put a lot of effort in, you know, you can reap the rewards. And I just want to retire with a load of Boston Terriers, with my husband in a farmhouse somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and that would be me, future.
I'm sure you'll get there as well, though, because someone who's tried to, like, that's easy work compared to, do you know what I mean, when you look at it that way. Do you know when you move into a house and you live in the neighbourhood or whatever, I don't know your situation, but do you, or even when you meet people in life, do you feel like you have to tell your story? Because I understand to the untrained eye or someone who doesn't know you will not have a fucking clue, rightly so. But do you feel, because it's so deep rooted in you, do you feel like, I don't know, maybe you've got to clear that or not? I know that sounds like a mad question.
I mean, the house that we lived in before this, we had 5 homophobic neighbours. So, I mean, when they saw 2 gay guys living in a house together and doing it up, it kind of just went sour. So, I think the house where I'm at now, everyone knows. Everyone knows my story. I mean, it's been well published and well televised. And everyone's really happy, everyone's really accepting, and we're really happy where we are now. But there has been moments before when I've had to explain my situation, because like when we go out for drinks with people, or when we have friends round and they start asking questions about so where are you from, what did you do, and all that kind of thing. And when I come out with the story, they're just like, and it can either go like really cold, or like, oh wow, you're doing really well, or yeah.
What way does it normally go?
Really cold.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you've got a very small circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that what you'd prefer, or would you?
I mean, not everyone's the same. You can't just go around like thinking everyone's going to be the same as what you went through. But by God, I've had a lot of homophobia, and there is, it's just too much to even list. But now it's completely different. Where we are now, we're really accepted. We're happy, and we're just getting on with life like a normal family. We're 3 Boston Terriers.
The dog walking business.
Yeah.
You've been doing that for 20 years.
20 years, yeah. Yeah.
Fucking hell. And you franchised it 9 years ago?
Franchised it in 2009.
Right, okay. Bloody hell, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So what is that model? So you're just a dog walker, but when you say franchise, why would someone need to buy into your franchise to walk dogs?
Okay, so work-wise, I was a first responder for the NHS back in the early noughties. And I'd have 3 rescue dogs myself at the time, and I was walking my dogs, and this lady just walked up to me and went, "Oh, you're a dog walker?" And before I could answer, she said, "Oh, how much do you charge?" And I was like, I could turn this into something. And lo and behold, I started Yorkshire's largest dog walking business back in 2006.
So you just walk a shitload of dogs?
Well, we look after them, board them, daycare, take them out for walks and stuff. We have quite a lot of dogs in the Yorkshire area as well as the North East.
And how does the franchising model look then? So basically, you've got people all over the place walking dogs under your name.
Yeah.
Why does it matter that it's under your name? Why wouldn't they just do it themselves?
I spent one of my early jobs as a temp in loads of various different businesses, and I spent half an hour and working in a dog kennel in Yorkshire. I only lasted half an hour because there were 50 dogs next to 70 cats, and it was just absolute pandemonium. And for me, having been locked up by my own family as a caged animal, it kind of resonated with me. I just wanted better for the animal more than anything else.
Right,
and that's what, after meeting this lady who thought I was a dog walker, I thought, you know what, that would actually be a really good idea. Instead of people sending their dogs to a cage, I could look after them. And that's how it all started.
Why dogs? Was that something because you never had a dog growing up? Or was it like a companionship? Like, what's the? Do you know what I mean? I like dogs, but I'm not a dog person. I'm never had a dog. I've had cats.
Dogs just know they love you or they don't like you. It's quite clear cut.
I heard him laughing because he's a dog person as well.
Dogs love me, and I just resonate with them on such a level. And even now, people who've had dogs rescued from Romania who have problems with men, as soon as they come to stay with me, mint, change dog. They love men. Do you know what I mean?
That.
It's something that I am really passionate about. Because at the end of the day, you're caring for something that needs you, that can only survive with your help. And I've got a really big caring nature, and I just absolutely love dogs. We do cats as well, but obviously we can't take them for a walk. But
Richie, I want to say thank you for coming on the podcast, mate. But I've got one more question. I think people will be asking this question in the red.
Yeah.
Do you want your own kids?
I have gone through many a time being broody. So is my other half. but he's well past that now. And from my perspective, I just don't think, personally, I'd love a kid. I'd love to bring a child up. But there's a lot of factors there that you really need to think about. If you're going to bring up a child, you have to do it properly. You have to be financially secure. You have to be in a really good place, because at the end of the day, if things go wrong, you know, it's who's going to suffer? It's the child, isn't it? You know, it needs to be right. It can't be a mistake, and it can't be just on a whim. And yes, I've wanted them, but I think I'm going along with my husband's choice.
Well, mate, it's, you know, if you don't have them, it's not the end of the world, because, I mean, fucking hell, where you're at now in life, like, you've already won, mate. And what a nice way to kind of, the journey, because I never realised how successful you were, really, and things you've achieved and what you went on to do. Because, I mean, mate, even getting out of that situation and getting a fucking job in a coffee shop is a win. Civilised, you know what I mean, being in society with people and not have is a win. Getting over the homophobia and all the shit that you've went through, never mind the abuse and all the neglect and all that type of stuff. But then to kind of make peace with it, close the book, marry someone in fucking New York, like, what the fuck, and then and then get a family and
Bostons.
stuff.
They're kids.
There you go, you've got 3 Bostons. But mate, I want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Cheers.
So if you've enjoyed this conversation and you like things like this, make sure you click up there and watch this episode.